So Otto expressed interest in coding, and a little over 2 years ago, he started spending an hour or two a week learning to write code, and this is part of his journey. He's also interested in other things. What else do you like to do?
I like to play soccer, I like to play games, I like music, that was my last talk, and I like capybaras.
This is his second conference talk. His first one was in the UK last summer. And it was fun because he was invited by another speaker who really appreciated his questions the year before. So they made music together using Sonic Pi, which is a Ruby grammar for music. And then also locally, Otto, where do you learn to code?
The Coder School.
So there's a place called the Coder School. It's really nice. A couple of his instructors are actually here in the audience. There's Damon and Hannah up there. So thanks for coming. Coder School, what do they teach you to write enterprise data grids?
Not quite, but...
So how do you learn? What do you do?
Well, a lot of times they help us understand it. They show us some code and we ask some questions about it.
What's it?
The code.
Like games or just random code? What do you do?
Well, usually you pick whatever you want to do that day.
I see. So each week you kind of get to do a new project if you want?
Yeah, but with this project, I did it for 3 months.
Yeah, it was a big one.
Yeah.
Was it your biggest game yet?
Probably.
Cool. So what did you learn first? Did you learn assembly code first?
First, we learned Scratch, the block code, and then we moved into Python.
How many of you started with something like Scratch? So yeah. What was that? Hypercard, of course, is the original Scratch. Yes, that's true. Woo! Oh, hey, Cybershine. What's going on with that? Just want to have some fun.
Have the shirt.
Oh, your Capyzilla, yes. Have you ever met capybaras?
Yes, we went to Ghost Exotics Zoo in Tucson.
Oh, cool. If I remember correctly, I think you said it was your best day of your life.
Yeah, it was so fun.
Really happy, yeah. So okay, you learned some Scratch, and then what happened?
After that, we did this test on Scratch. I passed it, and then we moved into Python. We started with not too complex stuff, but then we started moving forward.
Okay. So what do you like about the environment?
Like Python?
Yeah.
Well, it's not too hard, but it's also hard enough that I learned something from doing it.
Yeah, I remember you telling me a story about 4 months into development, and you were basically describing OO versus functional programming and why you liked functional programming better. You didn't know the nouns, but you were explaining to me why you basically preferred mixed-ins over inheritance. Do you remember that?
I remember something like it, but I don't remember what I said exactly.
Yeah, you were probably only 8 at the time, so it was pretty crazy. I was like, that's my boy. He knows how to write code. It's good. What made you interested in Asteroids? It's kind of a weird game.
Well, I really liked making the 8-bit games, retro games. I had made Brick Breaker in Scratch, and that kind of showed me that it was super fun to make those types of arcade games.
Mm-hmm. What do you think is difficult about them?
Well, the resolutions too. You have to change the pictures a lot.
Mm-hmm. And what about knowing where the shots are fired or how to make it feel realistic? How do you do that?
Well,
I'm not quizzing you, I'm just curious.
Sometimes there's masking, and so you have to make the sprites not go over each other or...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of weird when all your asteroids are on top of each other but not blowing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be kind of weird, huh? Yeah. Cool. So what else we got in here? So, you started making this game.
Yeah.
And I remember one time I was looking at the board and you were learning some pretty advanced math. What were you learning about?
We were learning sine and cosine stuff. Some of it I didn't understand, but now I kind of understand it.
Yeah. What does it help you do?
It helps you like triangulate the.
There's no right answer. Just talk about your experience.
I think that's what it was for.
Yeah, I mean, it helps you with like the math for your equations, for your calculations and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So do you normally use, like, what do you normally write the code in that you do?
Usually we do Python, but
Like, I mean, your IDE, like, do you use like Vim? You don't use Vim. Do you use like Emacs, VS Code, WebStorm?
we use VS Code.
VS Code, which is pretty
We
cool.
started off using this website called Replit, but it was super slow for playing the
Yeah.
game and testing.
Right. It does have one advantage, which is it live transpiles. So like, if we demo it, we'll demo it there. It was pretty cool, actually. I didn't realize you could write Python code that would transpile live into a browser into HTML on Canvas, which is pretty neat. And Python's a pretty good language for learning, don't you think?
Yeah.
So, cool. Obviously, like most good engineers, he wrote a spec in advance. Not really. He wrote a spec after the fact in limited spec with what he had been working on, so he'd remember some of the key features. And obviously, it's not done because the off-screen math doesn't work yet and other things. But we did. It was funny. He worked with another coach, and he goes in and he's like, "I have my talk this weekend. I just want to get the capybara working." And the other coach was unfamiliar with the code, so he did what most people do, which is they rewrote it in their own fashion. And the hour is up, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know what's wrong. It's broken." And left him. He was like, "Oh my God, my code's broken. What's going on?" And I showed him how you could like use version control and roll back to like the last known good version of your app. That was a lifesaver, huh?
Yeah.
Yes, but also it taught you the lesson that like live with other people's code, don't just rewrite it to make it the way you want it, right?
Yeah, because that could really annoy some people.
Yep. We won't name who the other coach was. He's not here, so it's okay. So the code itself is like when I review it, I'm like, that's pretty straightforward. I understand it. I don't really know Python all that well. But it's like a few hundred lines of code. Obviously, Pygame gives you a lot of cool things. But what did you find interesting or challenging about it?
Well, Pygame it's easier for the sprites, but some of the math was definitely the hardest part.
Yeah. So you got a lot of help with the math. Eventually, it made sense. Do you have any like amusing moments where things just went really crazy?
Yeah, there was one moment where when you would run into an asteroid, it would make all the other ones like disappear. It was really weird.
Yep. I noticed recently when you're using REPL that now it offers to give you AI hints.
Yeah, they have this thing called Ghostwriter, and it can write it for you. I don't usually use it though because it's wrong a lot of times, but a lot of the times it's also right.
Well, I think what's interesting about it is sometimes if you don't understand something, you highlight it and it'll try to tell you what it's doing.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good at explaining what's there. So if you forget how something works, it's kind of nice. I actually had this debate with our VC last year. He was like, I only invest in startups that document their code. And I'm like, that's funny. We don't document our code. And he's like, well, why not? I'm like, well, Copilot will tell you what every line does. You don't need to write comments. We just write comments for the stuff that's surprising or that's like a bug fix. But everything else is pretty self-explanatory, like use good variable names. And he was like, so I can't use that as a measure of value in startups? I'm like, I wouldn't. And so he now agrees with us, so that's good. So less comments, less obvious comments, the better was my point of view. Let's see. Oh, I already spoiled that one. You really enjoy debugging, don't you?
Yeah. It was like, again, we come back to the hitting one asteroid, we cause all the others to disappear. That one was fun to debug.
How did you figure it out? Do you remember?
No, but
No. Yeah.
it was like a while ago.
So scarred, you've forgotten the solution.
Oh no.
I have some very scary debugging stories in my life that I will save us time on, but this is roughly what it looks like. We could play it.
Yeah, we can play it.
So we'll just run it. You want to use the keyboard for it?
Sure.
There's a little capybara in the middle. Shoot the mouse, they're gonna get you. Hurry up.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh wow, you just slid past them. That was evasive. It was a little blotchy there. Maybe it's my computer. It's overloaded with recording. You died. Oh no. I think there's a frame missing there.
When we used VS Code, it would be a lot less laggy. That's why we switched to it.
Yeah. But I wanted just to be able to put it in the browser because it has to live in the browser to be eligible for this conference.
Yeah.
All right, what else do we got? Oh, next steps. What do you want to tell us about some of these things?
It doesn't work off screen. We need to add a high score. That's like one of the key parts of video games. It's not very efficient. It's just like we put it together.
You made it work, which is kind of the first step of learning anyway. I always say like, make it work, make it good, make it great, and just keep going in that path.
We need to add sound, which would make you like more immersed in the game. It would make it more fun. And then, of course, since this is a JavaScript conference, we need to put it into JavaScript.
Well, I was going to say we have to follow Atwood's law, but he didn't know what that meant, so. Cool. So, your creative process, how did you come up with these ideas? Because I mean, there's some pretty clever stuff in there that took some time to figure out.
Well, the high chews made me demented.
Yeah. I think I probably gained a couple pounds a year just having the high chews while watching them code, so they're definitely quite nice. That's like the killer candy for coder school. Huh? So what about like when you don't know something? How do you figure it out?
Usually I try to ask the coach about it. They usually explain it. Sometimes I understand it. Well, usually I understand it. Sometimes I don't. So then I ask a different question that might help me answer.
Yeah. One thing I think that is useful for all of us that Otto learned pretty early was to always ask a question to understand and to be curious. Yeah. And a lot of kids older than him just copy and paste. And it works, they're done, they don't make it better. What's that about? Are you saying you're a copy and paste developer?
She's like, why'd you have to look at him when you say that?
I wasn't looking at him, I was looking at Louis. Not intentionally looking at Louis, I wasn't looking up there. I only saw your arms go up, like what's going on? I have copy and pasted stuff before and it worked, but then I did figure it out because that's the important part. So it's cool. We really don't have much more to say, but anything else you want to add that we might have forgotten?
I don't know, capybara.
Is it what do you want to work on next? What's your next adventure in code?
I want to make a Brick Breaker game. We had it on a file, but then all the files got like deleted or something, so we're gonna need to restart that project.
Cool, like kind of like Breakout or like Vertical or Pong, like.
Breakout.
Got it. Cool. All right. Well, Super Breakout was one of my favorite games as a kid, so I'm looking forward to playing it. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.